Welcome back to the Over 40s Fitness Podcast. My name is Tristan Lowe, and today's subject matter is staying fit and healthy during travel, short haul or long haul travel. And for those of you watching on YouTube and wondering what this device is around my neck, no, keep that to yourself. It's actually one of those things that we see a lot of people carry in airports. One of these little contraptions that they use to put round your neck for when you're doing long haul travel, sleeping on the plane, and to stop your head from slipping side to side. I've kind of always, stayed away from these kind of gadgets or gimmicks or what have you. But I did a lot of flying a year and a half ago. I think I had 6 airplanes, 8 flights on airplanes and 2 helicopter flights. And eventually, your head, which is a weight compared to the space, masses and spaces, head and neck, starts to lower, and so I picked up one of these. I can't remember, in an airport somewhere in transition from one country to another. But I'm going to be using this one this week sometime for another bit of long haul travel. I think they work. Right, okay, so first thing first, enough about that. Right, and the subject of long haul or even short haul travel and staying fit and healthy. Here we are now in May 2024, and people are starting to either, at the very least, think about booking their holidays, or at very best going on holiday, or even if it's for work reasons, traveling overseas or around the country for work. But let's look at traveling overseas. All right, so the first thing we do, we book our flights, we book our boats if we're sailing, or ships, or trains if we're going to be using overground, and we book them to those destinations somewhere in Britain, Europe, the Mediterranean, the Middle East, the Far East, North America, South America, and what have you. Now, and ordinarily, there's a tradition we'll call it tradition or culture or mindset. Doesn't matter, but I've seen it enough times in my travels, and that's, it could be the great British public that do this. I used to think it was just the Brits that did it, but I've seen Americans and Australians do this as well, and that's actually consuming alcohol, or lots of alcohol, at the airport on the way to their trip. And that's not always your club 18 to 30-year-olds, your teenagers and your 20-somethings that do that go on these all-inclusive, all you can drink, all you can eat, and all you can everything else holidays to somewhere in Spain, Greece or Cyprus. Now, I've seen adults in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who aren't going on kids' trips get half drunk or inebriated, or in some cases even paralytic at airports. And quite often with today's social media channels or uploads and YouTube and mobile phones, often we see those kind of people get taken away from airports, or dejected, or taken off airplanes in the worst case scenario, because they're not just a nuisance to themselves, but they're also a nuisance to other co-travelers. So there's zero tolerance now with regards to people being intoxicated with either alcohol, or in some cases pharmaceuticals, or in extreme cases narcotics. Now, I would advise you, if that's you, stop doing that now, or don't travel. You either don't do it or you don't travel. Now, that's something that can affect your health when you travel, because your nervous system, your cardiovascular system, your endocrine system, everything's going to be jeopardized, which they are anyhow under the influence of the aforementioned cigarettes, alcohol, narcotics, pharmaceuticals, and that's going to be heightened or made even worse when you're 30, 40,000 feet up in the air in a pressurized cabin for a long period of time. So if you're going on your honeymoon, or you're celebrating winning a great big contract in your line of work and you're going to celebrate, I would suggest just one glass or whatever it is, or even nothing. Wait until you get to your destination. And ordinarily, we see people as well that will take alcohol on board, at the airport, in the lounges and on the plane, to help them relax, because they're nervous about long haul, about flying. They're nervous about being in this big metal cylinder tube, pressurized tube, and you can't get off, and you're that high in the air traveling at those speeds. And I understand that. I understand that nervous passengers, it's not a normal thing to do. It's not actually it's not an intelligent thing to do, to put yourself in a position where you've got close to zero control or influence on what happens with those planes. Now, if that's the case, you need to see a specialist who does actually who's paid to advise or give or prescribe things that you can take, herbal remedies even, to relax you, rather than being under the influence of alcohol or pharmaceuticals or narcotics. So I would suggest try that. Nice long warm bath before you go, relaxing, go for a long walk outdoors, get some fresh air in your lungs, some vitamin D on your skin. And then if you've got a daytime flight, give yourself something to do, like, watch a film, read a book. Don't eat too much sugary food at the airport or on the plane. Now, the next thing I would suggest as well, if you've got a night flight, is to if you've got a night flight, let's say from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock p.m. onwards, then you've got to think about it. I'm 6'4", and I don't find it easy to sleep on planes. I've been traveling on planes since I was 15. And I think then I was only 5'10", but now I'm 6'4", and so unless I've got an extra legroom seat, I find it hard to sleep on planes. Yeah, that's my body feels too long or big for the room that we've got, or my mind's too active as well. But what I tend to do, I think, okay, if I'm not going to sleep properly, and let's face it, who does? Even if you're flying in business class or first class, that doesn't guarantee your 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. Now, the people that will sell you those business class tickets or the first class tickets, or even in some cases the suites on planes, those kind of rooms that you see on YouTube, there's no guarantee. Yeah, they might put that in the marketing, but they cannot tell you. They're not physicians, they're not experts, they haven't got crystal balls. What they can guarantee is some form of comfort. Now, if like myself, you travel coach class, or if you're in America, you call it coach class, I think. Over here in the UK, they call it economy or premium economy. What I do, I pay that extra £100, and nowadays I'll pay for the extra legroom seat, because you divide that £100 extra over. I've got a flight this week, and I've got let's have a look. I've got 16 hours in the air, just over 16 hours in the air. So I'm going to pay. I've paid the extra. I think it's just over £100. You divide that by 16 hours to have, extra legroom in front of me. It's well worth it. I'm looking after my health. Yeah, your health is more important when you're traveling than your photos that you show your friends, or than what you upload to social media to show your friends on social media where you're going. I understand that. I like doing that myself. But your health, your physical well-being, your mental well-being is far more important than what photos you can get and selfies you can get hanging off this or stood next to that. I get that, great, I like it. I like looking at people's travels and what they've done and where they've been. It interests me. What interests me more is, how did you stay healthy during your long haul travel? Now, the next thing as well, if you've got a night flight, you can wear those eye patches on planes, those little eye patches that you see some people wear. I find they kind of work. You haven't got blackout curtains on the plane. You can pull down the screen, the little visor thing, the little screen thing that goes over the window, and they can dim the lights on a night flight. But there's still lights floating around, and people have still got their TV screens on at what would be 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. our time, which is what I'm going to face this week. So some people put those black eye patches on. Me, I've tried them. I'm not sure if they're as good as actually blackout curtains, but if that's what it takes, then use them. Essentially what you've got is that little bit of pressure on the eyes, and it does help keep out some of the light, so try that. The next thing as well is make sure that if you're a fitness enthusiast and you do resistance training like myself, what I would say is it's probably not a good idea to do a heavy resistance training workout the day you fly, or even the day before you fly. And the reason being, it's going to shorten the muscles in the body. Remember, when you're resistance training, you are lengthening and shortening the muscle groups in the body, and they take anything between 3 to 5 days to recover, depending on your level of fitness and also the nature of the exercise you're doing. So that all you guys who want to do leg day before you go to your beach somewhere in Greece, Spain or Cyprus, I would say do it 3 or 4 or even 5 days before you travel. For those of you that are at age 40 or over, body starts to decline, I would say what's important is cardiovascular workout, stretching and mobility. So when I travel on Saturday, I'm going to make sure that on Thursday, Friday and even Saturday morning, I'm going to do a bike ride, just an easy one, half an hour. I'm going to walk lots, I'm going to get some foam rolling in and stretching in, to make sure that I've got good blood flow around my body when I travel. Because what you don't want to be is tight and curled over at the back. If you're sitting, still for anything between 4 hours, and in some cases 17, 18 hours, depending on when you're flying. And don't forget, if you get to the airport 2 or 3 hours early, even longer for long haul flights, you don't necessarily walk around the airport solid for 3 or 4 hours. You tend to actually go check in and go and buy a cup of tea, cup of coffee and sit down and read a book, read the papers, play around with your mobile phone. You might go into duty free and buy some gifts or whatever, but ordinarily you could spend 2 to 4 hours sat down at the airport before you get on your plane. So there's you can add another 2 or 3 hours of sedentary or not being mobile enough on top of your flight. All right, so next thing as well is the food on planes. Now, depending on if you do eat food on planes, I tend to eat everything they've got because I like the calories, but generally, know when to say no. No, it's a fact that airline meals are overly spicy. They put salt, pepper, and additives on them because your taste buds, your senses are dulled. They're dulled when you're in a pressurized cabin that high up, and that's why quite often they bring out those kind of quasi spicy meals like an Indian meal or a Chinese meal or a Japanese meal or something like that. A curry or a Chinese or something with a bit of taste to it, and you enjoy it more than often. And it's not quality food either, unless you're going business class or first class, and even then it's still a processed food or is close to it anyhow. So I say to yourself, right, because your senses are dulled, you can end up eating more food than you would ordinarily eat when you're not moving at all. Yeah, because you wouldn't eat thousands of calories over a 12 to 15 hour period if you knew you weren't going to move whatsoever apart from standing up to walk to the toilet and back. If you've got any sense, you'd actually eat less calories than more. So factor that in. You haven't got to eat the same amount of calories that you would ordinarily eat over a 12 to 15, 16 hour period. And bear in mind, if you're doing long haul travel, North America, South America, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, those kind of places, you could be traveling from door to door. Yeah, that's your house to the hotel or the house that you're going in, to wherever country you're going. You could actually be traveling for up to 30 hours. Yeah, I've done some figures, and door to door, I'm going to be traveling 24 to 25 hours this week. That's how long it's going to take me from my front door to the hotel of where I'm going. At the very least 24 hours, and that's if there's no delays. So it could take up to 25 hours. That's a lot of time awake. And not moving as much as I ordinarily do. Nowhere near it. Forget your 10,000 steps a day. You're probably not even going to do 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day when you're traveling that far. So what I would say is, when you get to the airport, once you've checked in, your bag's checked, everything's secure, is walk. Walk around the airport as much as you can. Yeah, whether it be the duty-free department, whether you're going to the bathroom, or you're walking along the concourse, or you're going, walk from one end of the terminal to the other. And if you've got a lot of time, you could even, walk around the airport and get on the monorail and go to another terminal if you know you've got 3 or 4 hours spare. What I wouldn't do is just sit there still. You're not going to fall asleep at the airport. You're not going to get 4 hours sleep before you get on the plane. Doesn't happen. And that doesn't guarantee either that you're going to get that on the plane. So, okay, next thing, long haul travel, is when you get to your destination, what I always do, once I've got there, whether it be a hotel, an apartment, or a friend's or whatever, family, then what I would do is once everything's in, it's always, okay, cleansing your body, washing the body. Yeah, good scrub, good shower, get all those chemicals off your body. You've been on a plane with other people, and you've been in public toilets, you've been in toilets on planes, you've been in restaurants, you've been on trains, airports, touching things like that. And that's always to scrub. Take everything that you've had wearing truck, that has to be washed straight away. And then of course, a deep scrub and get your vitamins in. I take all my vitamins in a little box with me, enough for 2 weeks, and I'll take one a day. Again, a little bit placebo effect there, because not all the chemicals in the vitamins will go into your body. You won't absorb it all, but you'll absorb some of it, and that may help you. That could be the difference between being ill or not being ill, or just being tired rather than being run down and end up with chronic fatigue. All right, so when you get there, when you get to where you're going, deep scrub, good healthy food. You might want to go to a restaurant when you get there, but I would say that's fine, as long as the restaurant's serving something that you recognise. I wouldn't suggest on your first day, eat something that's still wiggling, unless you've already eaten it and you've got a strong constitution as well. So, all right, now, the flexibility and mobility of the body, if there was a test that you could take before you travel, of the flexibility and mobility, that's neck, shoulders, hips, wrists, ankles, knees, back, whatever, I would say that you are definitely tighter and less mobile, bordering on immobile in some cases, when you get to your destination. And you know that is because you're physically unfit, unhealthy, and if you are fit and healthy, you can still be tired, worn out, and have inflammation in the body. Yeah, your body's tired, worn out, fatigued. You'll have some form of inflammation. Your digestive system, your bowel movement may not be as normal or as regular as it normally is. That can be thrown out of kilter. And then, of course, you've got the time difference as well. And that time difference can be, 4 hours to, I think, about 11 hours, depending on where you're going, east or west, or north or south. So factor that in as well. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get there. The destination that I'm going to this week, when I get there, when I arrive at the airport, it's going to be 20 to 11 p.m. their time. So 20 to 11 at night their time. And I think I've timed it right. So when I get there, I can check into my hotel and I could be asleep by between 12, if not 1 a.m. at the very latest by the time I've done what I need to do. And hopefully I'll get 6 or 7 hours sleep and then start the day. Get up, no matter how tired I am, I'll get up in the morning in the destination that I'm at and get out in the fresh air again, get out in the sunlight and try and adjust my body really quickly with good hydration, magnesium, zinc, vitamins A, B, C, D, E, F, the whole alphabet of vitamins as well. Get those in my body, eat good healthy food, and yeah. All right, now, and finally, if you find that when you travel, whether it be for a week, 2 weeks or longer, you tend to let loose. You've got this mindset, culture, tradition, or you're hell bent on letting your body go for that week or 2 weeks. I would suggest you don't do that. Because a vacation or a holiday or a break, whatever you call it, doesn't mean that you spend that time eating highly processed junk food, or you spend that time being drunk every day or every other day, because you're going to come back from holiday feeling worse. You might have a bit of a tan, which might make you look better. If you've been out in the sun, might look a bit better, but you could be anything up to 7 pounds heavier, and you could have increased your body fat by 3, 4, 5%, and your visceral fat from 12 to 13 or 9 to 10 or even more. So, and you think, yeah, I come back and I feel great because I've had a holiday, but actually inside the body, you're unhealthier. So what I would do is say, if you can do some exercise whilst you're away on long haul travel, even though you don't want to, if there's a health club or a gym in your hotel, in the apartments or somewhere, go and do half an hour of exercise. Go and do 30 minutes of exercise 2 or 3 times a week or twice a week, for 2 weeks, and that could be the big difference. Walking on a treadmill, running on a treadmill, or going on a bike or a rower, and then doing some stretching and some free weights or resistance bands. If you've got access to a swimming pool while you're away, absolutely get in that pool as much as you can. And actually, there's a lot of evidence to prove as well that exercise, moderate exercise, not vigorous, not really hard, but moderate exercise, even light, can speed up your recovery from jet lag. So that's what I'll be doing. If I've got access to a swimming pool where I'm going, I'll get in it. If I've not, push-ups. I'll be doing push-ups, bodyweight squats, and abdominal crunches. If there's something I can hang off, I'll do some pull-ups as well. And what I will do is I'll walk for hours every day. Yeah, stretching. I'll do some mobility work for my joints, and then of course I'll do stretching for the muscles as well. And I'll make a point of doing it, even though I don't actually want to do it because I'm on holiday. But I want to enjoy my good food, I want my body to work properly so I can enjoy my travel and come back fit, healthy, and hopefully in one piece. All right, now that's it. So for those of you that are booking your holidays, you're about to go on it, think about your health while you travel. Yeah, don't just let go, because you may come back and it could take you anything from 1 week to 4 weeks to recover. And I don't mean recover from the jet lag, or from being inebriated from the alcohol. It could take you up to 4 weeks to actually get that excess fat that you've put on, and get exercising again. Some people come back from holidays and it takes them a week before they start exercising again, because they're still calming down and just getting over it and things like that. And ordinarily, it's nothing to do. There's a part of it is the time difference if you've gone far afield, but often it's what they've eaten and what they've drunk while they've been away. So I would suggest, as a professional personal trainer, looking after a lot of clients that travel a lot, look after your health while you travel. Keep your body in good condition. And that means you can travel again that year in one piece, or at the very worst the next year. So, thing to do is to stay mobile, stay fit, look after your body, watch what you put in your mouth, watch what you put on your feet, always have the right footwear when you're traveling. Yeah, there's no point wearing fancy brands footwear if it's the wrong fit, if you're going to be on your feet for anything from 3 to 10 hours a day. That's not just trekking and climbing and whatever. If you're going in big cities, people that go on city break holidays, you spend all your time walking around a city, which means 99 times out of 100 you're going to be on some form of concrete and there's zero give. So put the right footwear on. The two most important pieces of clothing while you're away is what's on your feet, and depending on where you are, what's on your head. No one cares what brand clothing you wear, only you do. Yeah, the weather, the mountains, the cities, the beaches, the oceans, they don't care. All right, but I do. All right, my name's Tristan Lowe, and the podcast is The Over 40s Fitness. If you'd like to comment on the channel, we're on YouTube. You can listen to me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, and of course, feel free to subscribe and help the channel grow. It's all about health, fitness for not necessarily the over 40s, but if you're over 40, man or woman, and you're watching it, hey, welcome aboard. I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching and listening. Until the next one, travel easy.